Today we're going to talk about MCP servers and how powerful they are. There's two kinds. There's remote MCP servers and local MCP servers. And in this case, we're going to start with this remote MCP server. And I'm using one that is called Excalidraw, which is a very cool visualization creation tool. And with the remote server, that's where it's hosted elsewhere. And all I have to do to get access to it is provide the URL of where it's hosted, and I can get very easily accessible tools. This is one where ChatGPT did not have Excalidraw as an available tool, but because I could add it as an MCP server, it was able to allow me to then type in what I wanted to show, and it was able to provide this visual back. A local MCP server, in this case, I'm using one that I created, and I'm going to show you how I created it in the video. But Accounting Assistant, this tool has just two functions, but we could extend it out to be a lot more. But in this tool, we are able to calculate materiality and analyze some journal entries for unusual activities. So the tool call, you can see it's actually calling the tool. It flags unusual entries. So I input whatever format I want. It doesn't have to be in this format, but in this case, this is what I use. I said, here's 3 entries. Use the Accounting Assistant journal entries to look for unusual activities, and it got this in, and it took this, it gave the results back, and this is Python's response. So we have Python doing the analysis, already written code, and the results then will come back and be used by the rest of the conversation to tell me what it found. So the reason why MCP servers are so powerful is in kind of the old days with the start of language models, the way that I would have to build most of my automations and my flows would be to start with a Python code as my core for the end-to-end process. And I would write the code taking an initial input, either from a user or from a file or from a source. I'd have a prompt that was pre-written plus the API call to actually send the data and the prompt to language model, take the results back, and then I would either have to have a human look at the results or parse those results if we got them in a structured format, and then route to the next step in the process. But it's kind of manual, and it's kind of limiting in the ability to extend or be flexible, other than that one portion that involves the language model. So there's cases where this is useful if you don't want to have any flexibility. But where it's really nice is when you do want to have more flexibility, or you want the language model to decide what it's going to do next, having the MCP workflow allows you to really start and end with the language model itself. It's more agentic, and you give it just the data that you need for it to use, and it uses the tools that it has available. It says, oh, hey, I have a tool called Accounting Assistant, and it can analyze a journal entry. And it uses the MCP server to determine what the tool is and how it can use it, and it sends the input in the right format to the Python code. The Python code will then only do the function that it needs to, which is great because you have a lot less tokens that you have to use in the language model itself, because it already can offload a lot of the calculation and the writing of the code to the Python, and then the Python gets the results back, sends it back to the language model, and then the language model can even take it from there and take more steps, make some decisions. So again, super powerful MCP server process. And because we can write our own MCP servers, you can take existing Python code and turn them into these extensible MCP servers. So we're going to show you how to do that in this video. So let's talk about remote MCP servers for a second. So this is Excalidraw. And so if I type in MCP Excalidraw, we'll find that there is this MCP application available. This was created by Excalidraw. Sometimes there are other entities that will create the MCP server, but in this case it was made by Excalidraw. And they exposed this on their domain. So mcp.excalidraw.com. Not every company or app will do this, but this makes it really easy to connect to it. So we'll show how to connect to that in ChatGPT as well as in Claude. So in ChatGPT, if you go and click on your name and go to Settings and then go to Apps, These are apps that are able to be connected just out of the box. But if you have your own, connections that you want to add, like Excalidraw, you can go into this dev mode, which you don't always want to do this, and it does cause the ability to, it removes the ability to have memory turned on. So I wouldn't recommend keeping this on all the time. But there may be some changes that ChatGPT will make in the future to make it so it's not so restricted. But they do this, I believe, because there's increased risk around external MCP servers that they have not vetted. So do be careful if you do add an MCP server. In this case, I've taken a look, and this seems like a legit company. So the way that we add a new MCP server in ChatGPT is, let's see, well, under Add More, the traditional way where there's existing ones is through this apps listing here. But if we want to create our custom one, it's under this extra section here where you go Advanced Settings, and this is where you can turn on the developer mode, which allows you to add an external server. Click Create App, and then this is where you'll add the name of the tool. So I did Excalidraw. You can put a description if you want, like draws cool hand-drawn flowcharts. This is where I put the URL, and I don't know if it will let me add this again since I already did before, but there's no authentication required, and so you can just turn off authentication. And then again, it's making you check this box saying OpenAI is not responsible if you get attacked, and then hit create, and then it creates the MCP server, and then it's just available to be used in your chat. And so if you go and create a new chat, you can just say, let's see, if I go to, let's make sure it's turned on. So go to the plus sign and more, and then you can see Excalidraw is right here. And you can use Excalidraw and say, okay, make me a simple flow for a procure to pay process. And I could specifically say I want to use Excalidraw, but in this case, I added it to the bottom. So hopefully it will know that it needs to call the tool. And so it's sure enough calling the Excalidraw tool. And so the first thing it does is it gets the information about how to actually interact with it. And then this is a really cool part. Just the way that this works is in real time, as ChatGPT is telling Excalidraw what to do, we're seeing it kind of come to life as it's creating the outputs. So I really like this. I think this is a beautiful tool. The visual, is not necessarily like a professional one that I would put into documentation per se, but it's really fun for videos like this. It's neat for explanations, maybe for trainings. But again, just to demonstrate how easy it is to get up and running with a remote MCP server. It's very nice. And it's great when someone else has built something that is useful for you. But if there's tools or things that you want to do that aren't available, you can use a local MCP server and build your own. So let's take a look at that now. So first, let's start with some plain Python. I've got this simple code up in my Colab notebook that has these documents, if you will, which are just different, very simple, short text-based accounting documents, and then some functions like get document and list documents, calculate materiality, and then flag unusual entries. And you'll see that these two are the ones that we end up turning into MCP server in a little bit. But for now, we'll just show the basic Python functionality. So in this case, this call right here is just to get the documents that are available and get the details from it. But first, use of actual function that we're showing the Python version, kind of the manual version, is we're going to calculate materiality. And so the calculation of materiality, we're taking this assets amount, and we're having to pass it into the function, calculate materiality, and then we get the results back. And of course, this is all hard-coded. There's really no flexibility here, but it works, which is great. And then similar idea here, we've got these journal entries. You'll see these are the ones that I used in the actual chat example. And we first put the entries into this variable sample entries, and then we're putting it into the function now. So flag unusual entries, we're inputting those sample entries and then using overall materiality And if you don't use overall materiality, I think it just assumes a materiality value of, I'm not even sure what it uses. I guess it uses 10,000 because that's what it looked like it used in the other version. Or the LLM just made that up. So I'll have to make sure that I include that when I next try to use this. But so you get the results back, and it flagged 2 entries. And again, this is very useful, but there's a lot of lack of flexibility here. And you have to then be able to take this and do something with it. And so if you're analyzing a lot of transactions or using this in real time, you really have to build out a robust workflow. So how do we turn this into an MCP server? Let's take a look. So there's a library called Fast MCP, which makes it very easy to turn a set of functions into an MCP server. And so in my Python code here, I have the same code that you saw before with just a few modifications. So the first thing is we import this Fast MCP library, and then we instantiate the MCP itself, and we gave it a name, and we give it the instructions. And these are important because this is what gets passed through when we actually connect to the local MCP. Then we have the same documents, which is not actually used in the MCP output. And then we have the different resources, which I haven't figured out how to use these yet, so we're going to ignore those for now. But the tool calling, that's the important one. So the 2 tool calls that we've made available when you connect to this MCP server are calculate materiality and the flag unusual transactions. Now you'll see these are formatted a little bit differently with a little bit better documentation. That's to make it so that it flows better and more information flows to the LLM when it uses these, but the logic is basically the same. But the main difference is we're adding this decorator in front, this mcp.tool, and all that does is it tells it when we run this, it turns it into a tool that can be called via the MCP. And that is it. That's all we have to do to get the code written. Now to actually get it running, that's a different story. So I'll show you the actual way to add this into Claude. So the easiest way to add this into Claude is to go directly to that config file, which is where these the MCP server logic is located. There's a few different ways to do this, but this to me is the easiest. And so I'm just going to go into edit the Claude desktop config file. And within this file, there's a section for MCP servers. And so you can see right here, you've got the MCP servers, and I have one right now. It's a local hosted one called Accounting Assistant. The command to run it is this command here. So I have it set up with the UV library. And I'll share documentation in the notes. That's an example from Claude on how to build a local MCP server using UV. And then the arguments here, that's just for when it runs, it will go to the location of where the MCP server is and run the accounting server.py. But basically what this does is you don't have to run this yourself. This tells Claude when Claude starts up how to set up and run the server so it's available to be connected to by Claude when you're using it. And so that's all we had to do is add this, save the file, and then when we had to restart Claude, and once we did that, it is now available to be used. And so we did use the flag unusual entries already, but there was one other function we mentioned, which was the calculate materiality. So let's see what happens. So say now use accounting assistant to calculate materiality. Total assets is, let's say, $25,000. That's going to be a pretty low materiality number. And but we're going to get that. And then we'll redo the journal entry analysis because I think that might add one more entry in the flag, that smaller dollar amount potentially. And so now you can see on the right, the tool call is actually happening, which is awesome. And so yeah, materiality is $125, very small dollar amount. And oh, funny, the that third journal entry is okay, exceeds the materiality amount, looks like. Oh, it's just under, yes. So it doesn't exceed it. So we're not going to flag the additional transaction there. But still pretty cool. We can use the calculate materiality function call to calculate it versus just having the LLM have to figure it out. So again, this is a great way to take Python code, take rules-based analyses or other kind of local connections or even APIs that you've got code written to, and expose it to your language model, custom made for your own purposes, to be able to add to that workflow and be able to access it from the chat itself. And just to circle back, we can see that this procure to pay process completed. Again, it just made something up, not something that I gave it the specifics for, but pretty nice to be able to have this available just because we connected to that MCP server. So just to summarize, we have two kinds of MCP servers. There's local, which is where you create your own or use local access to APIs that you've got, or just local code, and you make it accessible to your large language model. And then there's the remote, which is hosted elsewhere. You can create your own remote, but usually the remote is going to be ones that you'll connect to that others are hosting. So why does this matter for accountants? Well, again, these language models are really good, really powerful, but very general. And as we start to try to use these more in the accounting space, adding specific accounting type capabilities and logic and access to documents, it's going to make them a lot more capable and accurate. And that's going to just make these things much more powerful as we continue trying to integrate. So I would suggest my call to action to you is learn a little bit more about these MCP servers, do a little research, see if you can get one running all in by yourself. And if you like videos like this, please like and subscribe and share with somebody else who likes, and we'll see you at the next one.